Alright guys, well I'm back today with a brand new release of a red dot sight from Olight. This is their first red dot sight that they produced, and the OSIGHT really blows me away at the quality and performance, especially with all the features on this sight with the RMR cut footprint. This is actually the first ever recharging red dot that I've seen, utilizing a charging case that slides on top and actually gives you the battery level of the red dot itself, so you always know what you're sitting at. This is also incredibly durable, easy to use, and it's got ultra clear glass with motion awake technology. There is so many features to list, and we're going to give you an entire rundown of this, including an overview of the durability and reliability and performance down at the range. Now, I want to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. The MSRP on this guy is about $199 to $229 depending on the configuration you select, either red or green. But at the release of this video, they are doing a campaign, and that's all I'm going to say about that. You'll really want to click on that link in the description below, especially if you're watching this in the first few days after release. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about my relationship with Olight. Generally, Olight sends me a product, I do the review, a lot of times there's affiliate links, and that's about the extent of my relationship. But for this particular site, I actually got the chance to test the prototypes. These guys flew in from overseas, came to the range, and I went through a wide variety of prototypes. And on top of that, I've been testing this one for a while. I'm talking about a while. I've put thousands of rounds through many different OSIGHTs, and in this particular one, Olight actually sponsored a lot of the ammo so I could really prove this out, and that was at my request. I really wanted to test these, pushing them to the limits. I also want to give a huge shout out to AAC for picking up the rest of the ammo sponsorship and really sending over a ton of the 124 grain ammo to really pack a punch on these optics and to fully test them out. If you're interested in more about AAC, head over to the campsite page. And a huge shout out to them for sponsoring a lot of the ammo that the Olight sponsorship didn't cover. Now, these OSIGHTs are pretty slick because they drop right into the RMR footprint, which I think is a great addition. They're also an incredibly large viewing window, but in relation to the gun itself, they're actually fairly slim. It gives you the maximum viewing window so you can really engage your target in a wide variety of scenarios, whether it be personal defense, home defense, or competition use, without being overly large and unusable. This was a key feature that I wanted Olight to do, and they really nailed it on this final version. The glass is also ultra clear, and there's no bluish hue or tint, which is another nice touch. We are actually talking about an incredibly good quality optic at an affordable price. Now, this is also a recharging top, and I want to take a look at that since that's one of the main features right off the bat. And there's two ways to do this. You can actually plug this in to the USB-C and charge through the magnetic charging top while it is already plugged in, and you can get this stuff charged up. So it just drops on there and it starts charging. Now, when you drop it on, it will tell you the battery level of the sight, and if it goes away, you can click it. And right now, this has actually been sitting here without the charger, I'd say, for about 3 weeks, and we still have almost 100%, if not 100%, of the battery life on the optic. And it's got up to 70,000 hours of battery life on the lowest setting, and obviously we're using it kind of at the mid-tier setting so you can extrapolate from there. But it's got that auto-on technology, so if it does sit after 10 minutes, it goes into sleep mode. As soon as it senses motion, it automatically turns back on, and that works out perfectly every single time. No issues whatsoever, which is a key feature on a red dot, and this one does a very good job. Now, you can actually charge this guy up right here, and once you charge this up, you can get about 3 full charges out of this device. So if you wanted to throw one in your car or in your range bag, and you were at a competition and you were shooting this on the brightest setting, thing and it's been a while, you can actually just drop this right on there and you can see it's going to start charging the red dot without it being plugged in, which is a very nice feature. Now, they've utilized this type of technology in their Baton 3s and Baton 4 charging cases, and I really fell in love with that idea, especially going out camping. You may not have a power bank at the range or a competition, or maybe you're at a class and you're shooting for a few days and you forgot to charge your optic before you left. This is a good option. The other cool thing about this is you don't have to worry about replacing your batteries in your optic every year or going somewhere and wondering what your battery level is. There's also a quick indicator on the optic itself. You simply press the side button and it will tell you green, I believe yellow and red, depending on the battery light condition, which is really, really slick. Olight knows what they're doing. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be asking about that charging interface and how durable is that? Is it going to mess up? I actually dropped this one on a cement block from waist and shoulder high multiple times, hit right there on that charging port, and this still works and charges perfectly, and the glass remains fully intact with no issues whatsoever, so it's also incredibly durable. Another thing I want to mention is there are two configurations like we talked about in the intro. You will have green and red depending on what you like better. For me, either one of these are great options and you can save a little bit of money with going red, but if you want green, this is also a great option, and you can see the glass is incredibly clear on both. The image is also crystal clear with almost absolutely no distortion. Right at the top, right at the edge, maybe you get a slight distortion when the dot is halfway off, but guys, this is impressive. I've seen infinitely more distortion of the image or dot on things like the standard Trijicon RMR. This just does a really good job. Now, I'm not comparing those guys head to head. That's not what this video is about. But just to give you reference, this is a very good image quality. The other thing is these dots get insanely bright down at the range. I mean, as bright as the sun. You can also dim them down to really take advantage of the precise 3 MOA dot, so you get that crystal clear dot with no like flares of the optic itself. So as soon as you get to the correct lighting condition, you can see if you turn it up over bright, you might get like an image flare, but if you turn it down to the correct brightness setting for the lighting condition, you get this ultra crisp and clear 3 MOA dot, and that goes the same for green. You get it set for the right lighting condition and you're good to go, but this one also gets insanely bright down at the range, so there's no lighting conditions that you can possibly get these into that they don't work. Now, I personally probably have over about 1,000 rounds through these new ones. And I've have 1,000, 2,000 rounds through some of the other iterations that they've been sending over. And I probably have a little bit more on these. And they've been holding up great. Now, I've heard through the grapevine, they've had one that went through a 10,000 round test and absolutely held zero. All of mine have held zero perfectly for the testing that I've done. Even after the drop testing on concrete and racking them against a table with them, I've had no issues losing zero. These were well thought out from start to finish, and I'm really glad that I actually took part in some of the prototyping test phases and giving my opinions, filling out surveys, and talking directly with the engineers. This is the first product I've done this on, and it was really rewarding to see it from start to finish. Now, I'm not going to hold any punches. These are good optics, and if I see major flaws, I would tell you guys, but honestly, they're pretty darn good, especially when you consider the MSRP and the charging port. One of my biggest concerns when I heard they were doing a rechargeable optic was how was it going to work? Could you execute it good enough that people would easily charge the optic, but also, you know, have it charge on the go? And they killed it. They nailed it, in my humble opinion. So I'm really glad I got these out to the channel to try. Again, definitely head to the description and click that campaign link while it's live. And if not, this is a solid optics option at a great price. I also have the code 704TACTICAL for 10% off non-sale items. So you can definitely utilize that as well if this is not on sale or not a part of any campaign. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Olight for sending this out. And thanks to AAC for a lot of the ammo sponsorship. Have a good one.